Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, yeah. I call him Floyd Mayweather. Errol Spence is doing what true champions do. He wants to run it back with Sean Porter and show that he won that first fight. That's what a real champion does. And Errol Spence is a real deal champion. I love it. Of course, I'm for a rematch. So a split decision win. Of course, I'm for a rematch. So I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm loving what I'm hearing from Errol Spence. The Porter team will be open to that. Seeing that Porter was a champion, he gets a chance to regain his belt. Love to see it. Totally for it. And may the best man win. I just watched Errol Spence versus Sean Porter on an Errol Spence's fan view inside of the stadium. What's amazing is, well, I'm kind of very sleepy, obviously. You can see my eyes are red. What's amazing is that the fan was like, oh shit, looks like Spence is losing this fight. It's kind of crazy listening to the guy's commentary on it. From afar, it looked as if Porter was throwing a million punches at Spence. Now, I listened to Intangible Boxing Talk from Punch Stats. But as I already said, because I did look at the punch stats and everything, I don't know what those punch stats, where they got those punch stats from. Honestly, I don't understand, because Porter was much more the busier fighter than Errol Spence was. But that's what the punch stats say. Obviously, punch stats is a guide. It's not the be-all and end-all. But it was a hell of a fight. And I'm really finding it dope. Intangible Boxing says, shout out to Intangible Boxing. He says that Sean Porter is the 147 version of Ken Norton. Honestly, bro, I just don't understand what you're talking about. Ken Norton got knocked out a number of times in his career. The only person he was able to beat was Muhammad Ali, and it was once, right? And unofficially, he beat Muhammad Ali. Ken Norton was a limited fighter, did not have a hell of a chin, was not a guy that was in your chest all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. You have to explain to me, what do you mean? In what way are you comparing Ken Norton to Sean Porter? Intangible Boxing says, Sean Porter is a great fighter, not a great champion. Sean never beat a great fighter at the top of his division, just like Norton. First of all, Sean Porter has been a two-time world champion. What the fuck are you talking about? Defended both championships multiple times. So what are you talking about? Ken Norton never was a world champion. He never was. That's the first point. Second point, Ken Norton was knocked out by a number of fighters. Sean Porter's never been knocked out. Twice in his career. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Honestly, I don't understand you. Ken Norton's been beaten by boxers. He's beaten by guys who are not even the top level of the division. You know this, right? He's not Ken Norton. Come on, man. Come on. Your comparison just does not make no fucking sense. Why do you come up with these? Where do you come up with these whack ass points? Why are you guys so derogatory towards Sean Porter? What is your problem? You have to put him down to raise up Errol Spence. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? He's not Ken Norton, okay? In any way, shape, or form, he's just not Ken Norton, right? I mean, Sean Porter was the WBC champion. He beat Danny Garcia. Ken Norton never did nothing on that level. He's never been at the pinnacle of the sport. Porter's been at the pinnacle of the sport twice. Faced the number one fighter twice. and by split decision lost. Ken Norton didn't beat the number one fighters in the world by split decision. He got knocked the fuck out. The only person he's been close with was Muhammad Ali. Everybody else ran his ass into the ground. George Foreman knocked his ass out. Joe Frazier knocked his ass out. This dude outboxed him. What is his name? Forgot his name. I mean, why you even... Yeah, he's mentioned around the great heavyweights, but he ain't no fucking Ken Norton. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, there's certain... Like, I don't even understand why you even put that comparison together. Talking about he's not a great champion. What the fuck are you talking about? Of course Sean Porter's a great champion. He's proven that time and time again. He doesn't get the nod. You know why Porter doesn't get the nod? He's just not seen as a money man. You heard Errol Spence say, you don't sell out no stadium. He's not seen as a money man. Obviously, they're gonna always back the money guy. So, anyways, you know how unfair it is. You know, sometimes these guys be clinching up Porter. Look, Errol Spence hit Porter 20 low blows. The referee only jumped in eventually. All right? You see the unfair shit be going on. The referee's talking to Porter about pushing off on Errol Spence. Errol Spence could forearm him, push him, you know, hold him down, right? Ain't nobody saying nothing because apparently Porter's just a club fighter, right? He's just a street fighter. He's rough and rugged. He uses his head. He butt people and that kind of shit, right? Is what it is. Come on, man. Don't be talking about Ken Norton. Ken Norton never was a world champion. You can't mention Ken Norton. You know, Ken Norton got knocked the fuck out. All right? So come on, man. Please don't do that. Don't do that. That's derogatory, man. You know, that's derogatory. You so want to put on Sean Porter, you mention Ken Norton. Come on, man. You could do better than that. Man, get the fuck out of here. Y'all so fucking derogatory. The man just gave Errol Spence a tough ass fight, which Ken Norton didn't do to any other fucking fighter except for Muhammad Ali. That's the only person he ever gave a tough ass fight. Sean Porter, on the other hand, gave Keith Thurman a tough ass fight, gave Sean Porter a tough ass fight, has given everybody a tough ass fight. Everybody, including Kell Brook. Kell Brook just happened to handle him better. Even though, again, like I said, he missed like shit. He was missing like shit. It's just that Porter wasn't accurate either. Brook won the rounds by default. Porter knows now how to get out of the clinch and that kind of shit. He learned a lot from that Kell Brook experience. If he were to fight Kell Brook again, he'd beat his ass. So, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where Porter has faced guys who became the number one welterweight in the world, because after Kell Brook beat Sean Porter, he became the number one welterweight in the world. Sean Porter has met 3 times with the number one welterweight in the world. Sean Porter has faced the boogeyman 3 times. No, 2 times, sorry. He faced Keith Thurman, who was the boogeyman of the division, and he also faced Errol Spence, who was the boogeyman of the division. Ken Norton never did this shit. Every boogeyman he faced, he got knocked the fuck out. I mean, you just don't do. Why are you even mentioning Ken Norton? Ken Norton has nothing. Ken Norton has achieved beating Muhammad Ali. That's it. Ken Norton ain't done nothing else. He you know, I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on. You didn't even call him the Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier would have made more sense. Because Joe Frazier only beat Muhammad Ali once, but at least he beat everybody else except for George Foreman. George Foreman beat everybody except for Muhammad Ali. Besides that, Ken Norton is not even an aggressive fighter. Like, I really don't understand the analogy. I just don't understand the analogy. Like I'm trying to, trying to figure out how the analogy. None of what you say makes any damn sense to me. Just to me. Where you guys come with these analogies? I just don't understand. I'm trying to understand you. Ken Norton beat Muhammad Ali on the judges' scorecards once. You could argue he beat him twice. You know what Ken Norton reminds me of? I'm going to be honest with you. Jeff Horn. He reminds me of Jeff Horn. Sean Porter is no fucking fluke. Sean Porter has been a tough fight for every single fighter. He's not a fucking fluke like Ken Norton. Nah, man. Y'all being so fucking disrespectful all the time. So fucking disrespectful. Sean Porter defeated in fighting Wixard, Kevin Alexander. Wixard? What does Wixard mean? And Danny Garcia for a vacant belt. And Keith Thurman fought for a vacant belt too. So what's your point? What's your point? He fought an interim title and he was elevated to champion, then elevated to super champion. Ken Norton gave Holmes a tough fight. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. If I'm not mistaken, Holmes knocked his ass out. Sean is also similar to Oscar Bonavena. Nah. Stop referring to heavyweights, man. Oscar Bonavena was a good fighter, though. Great to see a t-shirt. Let's go, champ. What does that have to do with anything, buddy? What up? Raul Ramirez, 17. Ken Norton was great at using the cross guard. This shit, man, he was shitty at using the cross guard, if you ask me. The Mongoose did it better. Archie Moore. He used it with the shell. No disrespect to Ken Norton. He was a good fighter. He's considered one of the greats. But quite frankly, I don't give a fuck about him. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck about Ken Norton. He got knocked the fuck out and all of that. When you're talking about Ken Norton and Sean Porter, you're talking about two different people. All right? Sean Porter is at the top of the fucking game. All right? You know what? Yeah, anyway, what I was saying is that they're going to have a rematch. Errol Spence and Sean Porter. And I think that's worth it. They should have a rematch. That would be a good idea. All right. Ken Norton. Ken Norton got knocked out by a guy named Jose Luis Garcia. Smash that like button if you want, since we're talking about Ken Norton. Someone who I don't know who the fuck that is, but he got knocked out by that dude. He goes on to become a contender And he fights Muhammad Ali for the NABF title, breaks his jaw, in a split decision win against Muhammad Ali. I believe it was a 10-rounder. I don't think it was a 12-rounder. They rematch, and Muhammad Ali gets a split decision win. All right? But he still gets a chance at George Foreman for the WBC, WBA heavyweight title. George Foreman is like an Errol Spence. George Foreman is a guy that knocks out people. Okay? He a wrecking ball. Muhammad Ali's not known as knocking out people. He break him down, but he outboxed him mostly. George Foreman knocks the fuck out of Ken Norton. Ken Norton gets knocked the fuck out. Did that happen to Sean Porter? No. Goes on to beat a whole bunch of other people, including the guy he lost to by KO, Jose Luis Garcia. And eventually, he rematches Muhammad Ali for the WBC World Heavyweight title. And he loses unanimously to Muhammad Ali. Nobody argues that he lost to Muhammad Ali this time. Clearly, Muhammad Ali beats his ass. Goes on to beat another set of fighters, and then he faces Larry Holmes in 1978, who is now the champion, WBC World Champion. And he has a split decision loss to Larry Holmes. 2 fights later, he faces Ernie Schaefers. Ernie Schaefers is known as a power puncher. And he gets knocked the fuck out by Ernie Schaefers. Ernie Schaefers is a power puncher, but guess what? He ain't the greatest boxer in the world. Ernie Schaefers knocks him the fuck out. Okay? Then he goes on to face Jerry Cooney in 1981. What does Jerry Cooney do? He knocks him the fuck out. The moral of the story is, whereas Sean Porter faced Danny Garcia, who's a power puncher, Keith Thurman, who's a beast power puncher, competes with these guys and gets close decisions. Ken Norton can't handle the power. Once you got some good pop, you gonna knock him the fuck out. Okay. So please, do not mention Ken Norton's name with Sean Porter. Please don't do that. Not to mention, Sean Porter accomplished so much more than Ken Norton. Please do not mention Ken Norton's name in the sentence with Sean Porter, because he is not on Sean Porter's level. Very easily we could say that Sean Porter won against Errol Spence, in spite of the knockdown. We could say that he won against Keith Thurman, in spite of the fact that Keith Thurman stunned him a couple times. You cannot say that about Ken Norton versus Muhammad Ali the third time. Maybe you could say it against Larry Holmes. Maybe. But please don't mention Ken Norton's name. He's had many shots at the heavyweight title of the world. He's been knocked the fuck out twice. It's an insult. Seeing that Sean Porter has never been stopped. He's never been knocked the fuck out. I'm just saying. George Foreman is not like Errol Spence, bro. Listen. Errol Spence been knocking out left, right, and center everybody until he met Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter. So if I say he's like George Foreman, it's because George Foreman was wrecking everybody until Muhammad Ali, including Ken Norton. So listen. Anybody who had power in the heavyweight division was stopping people would stop Ken Norton. Just what it is. Just what it is. Larry Holmes wasn't known as a guy who was a knockout artist. Neither was Muhammad Ali. George Foreman was known as that. Joe Frazier was known as that. Jerry Cooney was known as that. Need I go on? And they knocked him out. Ken Norton. Ken Norton wasn't known as the greatest guy that could stand up to punishment. Everybody know that. So do not compare Ken Norton. Please don't do that. It's an insult to compare him to Sean Porter. Not to mention, Sean Porter is so much more skilled than Ken Norton. So much more skilled than Ken Norton. Ken Norton stand up like a dummy in front of you and take punches and use that stupid turtle shell defense, which he don't know how the fuck to use. Easily catch him with an uppercut. It's supposed to be used with the shoulder roll. It's an extension of the shoulder roll. And it's supposed to be used side on to trap shots. If you want to see how it's used properly, look at Archie Moore, the mongoose. He'll show you how to properly use it. Man, you want to compare Sean Porter to somebody? Man, come on, man. Stop being so derogatory, people. Then you want to put down Sean Porter's achievements as a world champion. Get the fuck out of here, man. Norton, the third fight, got robbed. No, he didn't get robbed. Norton arguably beat Ali in the third fight. No, he didn't. The second and the first. Foreman had better feet and had better pivot work than Spence. Fuck out of here. Bullshit. Spence should have considered watching Foreman versus Frazier if the rematch occurs. Bullshit again. Raul Ramirez Simpson. George Foreman became more skilled as he entered his second career. No. He was smarter, not more skilled. Intangible boxing. Foreman is the hardest puncher pound for pound ever. No, that's wrong as well. Ernie Schaefer's punch harder than him, as well as what's his kid's name? There was a lot of hard punchers in boxing. If you're talking weight class, or if you're just talking heavyweights, there are a lot of hard punchers. But definitely, Ernie Schaefer's is one of the hardest fucking punchers that ever were in boxing. Ernie Schaefer wasn't even a world champion. He knocked Ken Norton the fuck out. Jerry Cooney, he wasn't a champion or anything. He knocked Ken Norton the fuck out. In other words, guys levels below championship level. Ken Norton was supposed to be on championship level, right? Split decision, lost to what's the kid's name? Larry what? Help me out here. Larry, whatever his name is. Can't believe I forgot his surname all of a sudden. Right? Larry Holmes, right? He lost, but okay, he lost position to Larry Holmes. That means then he's on the same level as Larry Holmes. He could give Larry Holmes trouble. And the same level as Muhammad Ali. He could give Muhammad Ali trouble. But all of a sudden, all of that goes to shit when he faces Jerry Cooney. Listen to me carefully. When he faces Ernie Schaefer's, and when he faces Jose Luis, whatever the guy's name is, get the fuck out of here with that shit. He like Amir Khan. He ain't got no damn chin. You tap him on the chin, he go down. That's what it's saying. Not to mention, his style wasn't to fight you on the inside. He wasn't an infighter. He couldn't do it all. He didn't have the skills to do it all. Man. He ain't no fucking Ken Norton. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. All right. Ken Norton would have looked good, like I said before, Foreman and Joe Frazier are ahead of that dude. Why? Joe Frazier only had 3 losses in his career, and they were all at the championship level. Right? Oh, I think there was one that was not at the championship level, if I'm not mistaken. And he retired from boxing. He was like, ah, shit, I lost it. I think it was not Jimmy Young, but somebody outboxed him, and he said, you know what, I'm done. Was it Foreman or was it him? I can't remember who. Somebody retired from boxing, and he just didn't come back. Was it Foreman? Somebody, he got beat, and let me see who it is. Yep, it was Jimmy Young. Jimmy Young outboxed his ass, and he just shut down from boxing. He was like, "What the fuck? I ain't supposed to be beaten by this kid." Jimmy Young outboxed his ass. He was like, "You know what? I'm leaving boxing." And then I think Joe Frazier, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Frazier lost boxing because after he lost to Joe Foreman. So after he lost to Muhammad Ali 2 times, he lost to Joe Foreman before Joe Foreman knocked his ass out for the second time. And he said, you know what, fuck it. I'm done with boxing. That was that. And he had a match against some other dude that was a no-namer. But at least with Frazier, he lost to people who were notable fighters, right? With Foreman, he lost to a guy he shouldn't have lost to, and he said, you know what, I'm done with boxing. Then he came back 10 years later. Right? Okay. Evander Holyfield said that George Foreman was the hardest puncher he ever faced, which is cool. And that was a 45-year-old version of him that Holyfield faced. Yeah, but everybody know back in the day, nobody wanted to face Ernie Schaefer's. It's very avoided. Everybody. George Foreman, everybody avoided it. Go read up on Ernie Schaefer's. It was a beast. He was really punch. Got his ass knocked out a couple times, though. 68 KOs through 76 fights. You say Maidana is the hardest puncher ever. I said that per pound for pound. I just said that. I didn't say he was the hardest. He was the biggest KO puncher. I said he was the hardest puncher. So he don't have to have all them KOs. KO puncher and a hard puncher is 2 different things. There are guys who have they can brutalize you, break bones, and smash your orbital bone, break your cheekbone, and shit like that. But then they'll knock you out. All of that is hard punching, right? Guy could break your ribs with a punch, but he doesn't stop you. You continue fighting. So that's what I'm talking about. Hardest puncher. And I just arbitrarily picked Marcos Maidana. I decided to pick somebody from this era. But you didn't have to go with Marcos Maidana, like I said before. Hybrid 95. Everyone thought I was crazy saying Porter had good skills and footwork in my Porter Ugas post fight. There you go. You was right, brother. You was right. But everybody thinks he's a club fighter, so they always put it out. I'm still seeing derogatory comments by Intangible Boxing. He's still trying to put down Sean Porter. When we clearly know Sean Porter's on the level of an Errol Spence. When we clearly know Sean Porter's on the level of a Keith Thurman. He's shown this time and time again. Sean Porter's only lost 3 fights now. And 2 of those 3 fights, you could argue he won them. I was just watching a Spence fan watching the fight, and he thought Porter was winning that fight. I know professionals in boxing who think that Porter won the fight. I just was watching that the trainer of Danny Jacobs, the trainer of Danny Jacobs, and he was saying he wanted to see a rematch. And when I look at the survey that was done by who did it? Somebody did a survey. I think it was either Fight Hype or Fight Hub or one of them. Most people want to see a rematch. Most people want to see it run back again. And Errol Spence said, If you want to do it again, Sean, let's run it back again. Man down. And that sounds really good. I'm really excited and pumped to see this fight again and see how it pans out. If Errol Spence will use a different strategy, definitely he's talking about, disciplining himself, keeping himself in shape so he doesn't have to get in shape. All of that sounds really good. And if he can pull off a more dominant performance against Sean Porter, that would be even better. And if it ends up being another scrap where it's close again, so be it. I mean, that's just what the styles make fights. So I'd love to see it again. And Sean Porter wants a rematch, so that would be great if they rematch each other. That would show. And then they probably make more pay-per-view buys because, like Canelo versus Triple G, maybe there'd be a more dominant performance by Errol, or maybe more dominant performance by Sean. But the fact that they're going to do it again is very exciting to me. And the fact that most people can't really predict who the winner will be in the rematch, now that people know how good Sean Porter is even more interesting to me. Tangible boxes. And when I compare Norton and Sean, I mean their position within their respective environment. Again, you lost me though, bro. I'll be honest with you. You lost me because even in terms of positioning in their respective environment, Sean Porter being at the top, he'd been at the top of his environment. So I'm not quite sure I understand what you're talking about. And like I said before, Ken Norton got beat by guys he's not supposed to get beat by. You can't be talking about their respective position in their respective environments, and Ken Norton's getting beat by guys he's not supposed to get beat by. Remember, Sean's always been at the championship level. He's shown that. He shows he belongs at the championship level. He keeps on beating anybody who's below the championship level. Ugas got it. You know what I'm saying? Danny got it. And Danny was a champion. So he's showing he can beat world champions as well as he can beat guys who are not champions, contenders. Showing what level he's at. You can't, okay, all right, let me put it to you this way. I'll give you a good analogy. Terrence Crawford. I'm going to use him. He's got a WBO belt. Who has he beaten? He ain't beat none of them top guys. So is he like Ken Norton? Is he like Ken Norton in the welterweight division? Or is he a Jimmy Young? What is he? Because you all of a sudden the belt doesn't matter for you. Can't rank somebody highly and he ain't faced nobody. You can't. Which is it? The belts matter or the belts don't matter? If the belts matter, then Sean Porter's been at the top of the game. So what are you talking about? If the belts don't matter, then you telling me Terrence Crawford's not at the top of the game either. He's down the food chain because he ain't faced none of the top guys. Which is it? What applies to one must apply to all. So you're being derogatory, and you know you're being derogatory by referring to him as Ken Norton. Then you put down his opposition that he used to become world champion. You put down Danny Garcia. You put down Devin Alexander. All right. But yet, don't tell me you praising up Terrence Crawford. You can't be praising up Terrence Crawford. You can't put Terrence Crawford above Danny Garcia, and you can't put him above Devin Alexander. Why? Devin Alexander beat Marcos Maidana to retain his IBF welterweight championship. Who the fuck has Terrence Crawford faced to retain his WBO championship? So you can't even put him ahead of Devin Alexander. So what the fuck are you talking about? That's why I keep on asking. What the fuck are you talking about? He beat Devin Alexander. Yeah, when Devin Alexander was a shit. At welterweight. If I'm not mistaken, let me pull it up. If I'm not mistaken, yep. He beat a Devin Alexander who was coming off of the Lucas Matisse win, the Marcus Maidana win, and then he beat Randall Bailey, who had beaten Mike something. I could tell you who it is. So hard punching Mike Jones. He knocked out Mike Jones to get the vacant IBF world title. That's Bailey. After he knocked out Mike Jones to get the title, then Devin Alexander came and beat Randall Bailey. This is coming off the Lucas Matisse win and the Marcos Maidana win. All right. And then he had a very simple little fight with Lee Purdy, and then he faced Sean Porter. That's the Devin Alexander Sean Porter faced. The only guy since then to have beaten Devin Alexander was Timothy Bradley. So when you talk about Devin Alexander, we're not talking about the burned out Devin Alexander that getting his ass beat and Red Cat was knocking his ass out and all that shit. And American was outboxing his ass. We're not talking about that Devin Alexander. We're talking about the champion Devin Alexander was the IBF world champion. Tough southpaw. Right? So when you talk about Sean Porter, gotta give the guy some respect, man. Don't be trying to be derogatory to the dude. You may not like his style or whatever, or you might feel that Errol Spence won or whatever the hell you feel. But at the end of the day, Errol Spence giving him a rematch, showing that he acknowledges that the fight was close. Just as how Floyd acknowledged that the Marcos Maidana fight was close. He brought it back. Errol's doing the same thing that Floyd did, and I applaud him for it. Smash that like button if you like this discussion. Jimmy Young had a few losses during that time as well. Yeah. That was against George Foreman. George Foreman said, fuck it, man. I'm out of here. Hybrid 95 says it's impossible to determine who hits the hardest. Joe Louis, Foreman, Schaefer, Tyson, Wilder, Julian Jackson, etc. all hit hard. Yeah, but the guys who faced Schaefer's and they faced Foreman, a.k.a. Muhammad Ali, said that he never got hit harder than Ernie Schaefer's. Whereas with George Foreman, he was like taunting him, saying, that's all you got? So, So, I mean, you can go with what the boxers say. Porter definitely beat Ugas 8-4. He outboxed his ass. He outboxed him. Hybrid 95. Khan survived getting hit by Maidana square on the chin, in my opinion. You laugh. Khan being wrecked and punch drunk in almost every single fight, including the fight with what's this kid's name? He's still fighting too. The tattooed guy who stopped Victor Ortiz. Louis Collazo. Louis Collazo broke his nose like Marcos Maidana. Wrecked his ass. He dropped Louis Collazo 3 times, and Louis Collazo got up from that and was still hunting his ass down. And still wrecked his ass. Fucking American. Such a joke. That was anyway when American was in his prime before Marcos Maidana. Before Danny Garcia knocked his ass the fuck out. I'm sorry for cursing so much, people. But it's just funny to me. Intangible boxing. It was much harder to be at the top of the division back then with 2 belts. Not really. Not really. Again, I mentioned a certain point, which you have ignored. Ernie Schaefer's KO'd his ass, and Jerry Cooney KO'd his ass. These guys, while they were top heavyweights, were not in the sphere. Ernie Schaefer was not in the same sphere as George Foreman, Muhammad Ali. What's the kid's name? I just forgot Larry Holmes and Joe Frazier. He just was not in the same stratosphere, right? And then Jerry Cooney wasn't either. I mean, Jerry Cooney was a nice up and comer, and he was kind of hot, but Larry Holmes dealt with his ass so easy. So I'm just saying, I don't know where you're really coming from, because Sean Porter has anybody who's below his level, he cleaned out. He cleaned out. And guys on his level, he is also cleaned out, which would be Danny Garcia. I mean, unanimous decision wins. Clear wins. At least according to the judges. All right? So I don't agree with what you're saying. I just don't. And to say he's not a real champion, what the fuck does that mean? Of course he's a real champion. If he's not a real champion, then Terrence Crawford not a real champion. Terrence Crawford ain't fought nobody at welterweight. So what are you saying? You have to be consistent. Right? That's what I'm saying. And if you're saying that, then Keith Thurman's not a real champion either, because he got beat by Manny Pacquiao. It don't make no sense what you're saying, man. In my opinion, it just don't make any sense. Right? There are 4 belts today. Anybody who gets a belt and holds on to it and is able to defend it is a true champion, in my opinion. Back then, there were 2 belts, the WBA and the WBC. Of all people you should be talking about, guess what? Sean Porter had the WBC belt. Errol Spence got an IBF belt, which is not a real belt. That came off of the WBA. Terrence Crawford got the WBO belt. That came off of the WBA. Really and truly, the real champions should be the WBA and WBC champions. In which case, Sean Porter is one of them. Was one of them. So no matter how we look at it, Sean Porter has to be considered a real champion. A great champion. A true champion. You have to consider him that. The fact that Errol Spence is giving him a rematch shows you that he's a great champion, a true champion, and he may get a chance to be a 3-time world champion. In which case, if he does become that, what do you say? Of course, money talks, bullshit walks, but still, at the same time, it is possible that Sean Porter could become a 3-time world champion. And I said, if he was to face Terrence Crawford, he would have cupped that WBO belt. What you would say when he beat Terrence Crawford? Because he would. He would beat Terrence Crawford at this point in time. Instead, Errol Spence wants to rematch him, which is cool. I mean, I would love to see that. See how it pans out. Then why is he ranked higher in the pound for pound list than Errol? Who's that, Terrence Crawford? On their pound for pound list. On their pound for pound list. Right now, after Errol has faced Sean Porter, Errol is probably ranked higher than Terrence Crawford on the pound for pound list, because guess what? Errol is ranked higher than Terrence Crawford currently in the Ring Magazine's welterweight division. Terrence Crawford was the number 1 welterweight. Now Errol Spence is the number 1 welterweight. I would not be surprised. Errol is now higher on the pound for pound list than Terrence Crawford is. That would not be surprising to me, because he got a split decision win over Sean Porter. I would not be surprised Sean Porter has moved up closer and closer to the top 10 pound for pound fighters, just based on that. Okay? The fight was close, I agree. Which you mean Sean Porter versus Errol Spence? Of course it was close. I just watched it again from a fan's perspective inside of the stadium, and clearly the fan was convinced that Sean Porter was winning the fight. He was shocked, right? Then he turned around after Errol Spence dropped Sean Porter, and he said, "Man down, man down." And then when Errol Spence, he was saying as the fight was coming to the end, if he don't stop him, man, he gonna lose the fight. Then he turned around and said the knockdown might probably give him the fight. Then you could hear all the fans in the stadium. They all panicking and shit, waiting for the result. When they heard split decision, they was like, damn. They didn't know who it was gonna go to. And don't y'all, none of y'all front like if you didn't know that. All of y'all ass cheeks was holding, you was holding your ass cheeks and you was biting your fingers. Because you didn't know which way this fight was gonna go. All this 8-4 bullshit y'all calling and 9-3 and 7-5 and all that shit was out the window. I saw D-Style and his actual reaction, and D-Style was in awe. I'm telling you, man, D-Style didn't even know which way this fight was gonna go. So don't be fronting like, oh, it was 8-4, blah, 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 blah. No, you didn't know, man. Come on. Don't be fronting like that. Khan says he doesn't remember the Maidana fight. I didn't say Sean wasn't a real champion. I said he wasn't a great champion. So then Errol Spence is not a great champion. Terrence Crawford's not a great champion. Keith Thurman's not a great champion. That's what he's basically saying. Of course he's a great champion. His career is not over either. Sean Porter's career. He's a great champion. Sean Porter has twice won a championship title and defended it. He's not a titleist. He has defended his championship title. So you cannot say that he's not a great champion. We don't know how many times he's going to become a world champion. You're assuming a lot of things. Errol Spence is a great champion? That's what you're trying to say? Errol Spence is a great champion? Why? Because he unified? So what's the difference between unifying and having world titles in two different sanctioning bodies? What's the difference? I mean, it's up to you. But if you think that Sean Porter is not a great champion, I think that's derogatory. He's already great. I'm going to tell you why he's a great champion. One, he's faced almost everybody. Nobody else has done that. And he's become world champion in the process twice. There ain't nobody else that faced everybody like Sean Porter. And he's not just a great fighter. He's a great champion. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Right? And I know great champions have multiple defenses and all this shit, but really, great champions are based on who they fought, who they beat. You know, Gennady Golovkin has 20 defenses, but against who? Against who? Right? You go through history, and there are a lot of great fighters who have had great championship defenses and long championship defenses. But you have to ask yourself the question, were they facing guys who were much bigger than them? One. And two, yeah, they may be the who's who, but the question is, when did they meet these who's who? At what point in their career were they meeting these who's who? I have not missed your point, my friend. Have you noticed the PBC welterweight fights have been split decisions? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pacquiao versus not all the welterweight fights, just the big prominent ones. The two pay reviews. Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao was a close fight. And Sean Porter versus Errol Spence is a close fight. And I expect them to be close fights. Not much separates these top elite guys from each other right now. So I expect that. Jessica Jimeno says, I think it's nuts. Pre or post Spence Porter that Crawford is or was ranked number one. Number one pound for pound. He was ranked number one welterweight in the world by the ring. Yeah, I thought it was stupid because how could you be number one welterweight in the world and you ain't face nobody at welterweight? It's just what it was. I think they were looking at his past history and what he had accomplished, but still, it don't make no sense to me. It is what it is. Paul Ramirez 17 says Deontay Wilder has made a recent statement saying that if he retired at the current moment, he would be in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Do you agree? No, of course I don't. I don't agree with that. And quite frankly, I don't give a fuck what Deontay Wilder says right now. Because Deontay Wilder said a lot of stupid stuff. He said that the referee was counting too slow. He said that the referee gave Tyson Fury too much time. He's been saying a lot of stupid stuff of late. Which is why he's kind of discouraging me from the heavyweight division. Because, one, he's rematching a guy he already beat comprehensively. Two, he's talking all this smack about Tyson Fury and his opposition. And then he's making fucking excuses for why he lost, but got a draw in his fight with Tyson Fury. He said some really stupid ass shit like, I won the first 4 of the first 6 rounds. And I'm like, man, shut the fuck up. And he's saying the commentary team is the guilty party for people thinking that it was 10-2. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I didn't listen to the commentary. I was just watching the fight. Tyson Fury was beating your ass on the scorecards. He was outpointing you. I mean, Deontay Wilder, if you're gonna make them stupid ass excuses, it means you're gonna fight the second fight the same way. You better go to Tyson Fury's body and try and land on his body. Stop being so anxious to throw the right hand to the head. It's a stupid thing to do. If a guy has good head movements, you hit him in the chest or the body. It's just these simple things. I don't like to hear people make fucking excuses. You didn't hear Sean Porter. This is another thing on his class act. Sean Porter made no excuses. He just said rematch, and that was that, right? Wilder needs to do a rematch with Fury. The stupid part about it is Fury and his stupidity to want to have these gimme fights so that he won't injure himself, so he doesn't put in jeopardy the Wilder fight, actually put it in jeopardy the Wilder fight. It's the ass backwards thing that ever happened. And so I'm looking at this whole thing and I'm like, man, Fury not only did not sell pay-per-view numbers, but he fucked up the Wilder fight, which probably he was glad to fuck up because right now he's shown to be vulnerable to the body. And Wilder should be working on that as we speak. If I were him, that's what I'd be doing. But he's talking a bunch of shit, Wilder. So I don't really care about the heavyweight division right now. It seems to be going to shit rather quickly. If Ruiz knocks out Joshua, that means we got the short guy who kind of looks out of shape, who is a great boxer. Not very flattering, but whatever. And then what we're left with is this. Deontay Wilder. He got power. Can box a little bit. But he's behaving like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, which annoys the fuck out of me. I mean, a fighter's supposed to feel that way, but still. No tests. I want to see him tested, and he's not being tested. So, it was supposed to be the Fury fight, but then that's fucked up. So, that was what I was looking forward to next year. And now, I don't even care about it. And then, who's going to face Wilder? Everybody thinks Wilder's power is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But until Wilder is tested and his power is not, is negated or neutralized, I mean, What good is it? I mean, I don't want to. He's depending too much on his power. So if he doesn't get a knockout, what happens? That's my question. Um, and there's nobody out there really to test him. So I'm not really interested in the heavyweight division, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, I'm not. By process of elimination, Wilder is the number one dude out there. That's what happened. Tyson Fury is suddenly out the game because of his eye. Anthony Joshua got knocked out. So Wilder is remaining standing. It's not like he faced these guys and beat them. He definitely didn't beat Tyson Fury. And Anthony Joshua took himself out of the game. Again, knocked the spark out by Andy Ruiz. So, I mean, I'm feeling sleepy. I'm not really highly interested in the heavyweight division. You know, there's a couple of heavyweights out there that look interesting, but they still got a ways to go. That's so funny. Intangible, you are clowning now. Oh my God, that's so funny. Ooh, I guess you totally missed my point. A great champion is a dominant fighter who can turn possibly 50-50 fights into dominant performances. There's a reason Sean hasn't beat top first tier 147s. I mean, not really, because then you're saying Errol Spence is not a great champion. Keith Thurman's not a great champion. And they are great champions. It's just that they're coming up and they're developing, kind of like with Hearns versus Leonard. And nobody's really dominating the division. It's kind of even playing field at present. And fighters are losing fights. And that's great because it's very competitive. I think Showbiz the Adult covered that. Hybrid 95 said, oh, okay. Hybrid 95 said, top 5 pound for pound on my list. Number 1 is Pacquiao. Number 2 is Canelo. Number 3 is Loma. Number 4 is Bud. Number 5 is Usyk. But who's to say that Bud should be in that list or that Loma should be in that list? Do you consider Loma a proven guy or he's fast tracking? I mean, we still got Gervonta Davis there. We got some gifted fighters. We got Gervonta Davis. We got Devin Haney. Tevin Farmer's down below, one weight class below. Yeah, Shakur Stevenson. You know what I mean? We have Richard Comey and Teofimo Lopez. He's not really been tested by the real guys. Luke Campbell is not on the level of those guys I just mentioned. We even have Gary Russell Jr. at featherweight. Right? Gary Russell Jr. faced Lomachenko early in his career. Why don't he face him again? Why doesn't Loma give him a rematch? Wasn't it a split decision win I think Loma had over him? Give him a rematch. Let's see what happened. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. So you can't really put putting Loma as pound for pound number 1 and he ain't faced everybody. That's just my thoughts on it. I mean, or most of the people. He's been facing guys who are all right, you know what I mean, at lightweight at least. But the real killers, he's not faced them yet. So, I mean, he until he faces those guys, I can't really say. And then I saw Floyd put out a statement about Gervonta Davis being pound for pound number 1, and I think he's doing that because he's challenging Lomachenko. He's literally right now throwing a jab at Lomachenko, which means Davis may be facing Lomachenko very soon. You know. Yeah. That's Hybrid 95's top 5 pound for pound list, which is fair enough. It's fair enough, Hybrid 95, by the way. see. Usyk, you could throw in there as top pound for pound. He has Usyk in there. Deontay Wilder is by far the most skilled heavyweight champion in history. Name one aspect of coming forward and throwing punches he has not perfected. You're clowning, man. 195. I think it's fair to say he hasn't mastered combinational punching. Oh, Wilder versus Charles Martin is a 50-50 fight. He hasn't mastered inside fighting or consistent body attack. Daniel Dubois would beat Wilder in my honest opinion, but knowing Wilder, he wouldn't take that fight. That's funny as fuck. I think you were trying to be serious, but it still seems funny to me. Daniel Dubois versus Deontay Wilder, you serious? Or you're joking? Daniel Dubois would get murked, man. He'd get knocked out. Wilder's fast. That's what you have to remember. He's fast. He's rangy and he's fast. He would go, bop, bop, and that would be it. Daniel Dubois would fall on the ground. But oh, man. Come on, man. Oh, man. Wilder would knock out Daniel Dubois. Yeah, of course. Daniel Dubious. He called him Daniel Dubious. Daniel Dubious is slow and only 22. Lacks experience. That would be an easy fight for Wilder. Yeah, sure. Yep. Sidestep him. Go weak side. Boom. It's over. That'd be a short fight, man. He'd be lunch. He's still learning. He's still learning. He's still learning. Intangible Boxing says, I agree at Hybrid 95. Yeah. I mean, Anthony Joshua would be beaten by Wilder. Wilder would knock him out. Wilder would knock out Anthony Joshua. Too agile and too fast. It's too fast for you. The thing with Mike Wilder is also his speed. His power comes from his speed as well as his strength. Tangible Boxing. I remember talking about what qualifies as a great puncher. Wilder does. Yeah. No doubt about that. If you got good defense, though, you could weather his storm. If you got good defense. As Tyson Fury showed. He still got caught. Tyson Fury still got caught by Wilder. Deontay. He's an interesting cat. Deontay will light you up. And you will go down. Your legs will give out and you'll fall down. Yep. Yes, this is true. Going weak side will neutralize Wilder's right hand. Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. Hybrid 95 says, I mainly include Loma for making history unifying three weight classes as quickly as he did. If it was easy, as Loma made it look, then someone else would have already done it. True. This is true. And Loma was like, put me in. And in his second fight, he had a championship fight. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying, and it's remarkable what he has done. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, though, Loma ain't faced the real deals. There's the real deals now in the lightweight. And they're better competition than he's ever faced, except for Gary Mariga now, who was too small for him anyway. If Canelo defeats Sergey Kovalev, yeah, what about that? Would you see Andre Ward come out of retirement for a potential super fight with Canelo? I hope not. I heard his trainer say that he'd have to have some tune-up fights before he faces Canelo. Intangible Boxing, Devin Haney versus Sam Langford, who wins? Why are you asking me these crazy-ass questions, man? You gotta understand, I don't know Sam Langford like that. I only seen some tape and footage of him. And from what I've seen, he wasn't really the lightest, quickest foot fighter. But they say he was quick because that's how he knocked out Harry Wills with an uppercut. But I only have more hearsay on him. I have never really seen him. I've seen small footage of him fighting Vec McVeigh and the other guy. I forgot what his name is. I've seen him fighting those guys, but I mean, I can't really say. So and Haney's at lightweight. I mean, Lightfoot was at lightweight, but he didn't stay at lightweight for very long. He did face Joe Gans though. Was it him or was it Joe Walcott? I can't remember. Hybrid 95. I'm not spelling Dubois correctly. No, you're not, man. You're putting dubious. Oh man, I really need to go to sleep now. I can feel it. It's spelled Dubois. There you go. Dubois. Dubois. It's French. Raul Ramirez says Devin Haney and Virgil Ortiz are by far the most talented prospects. But Virgil Ortiz is a welterweight, though, isn't he? He's welterweight. Virgil Ortiz is okay. Yeah, he alright. He does box more than he does bang. He's alright. We might hear more about him in the welterweight division soon. He gonna make some noise at least. Seems that way. He's solid. Oh man. Virgil Ortiz gets counted. Yes, he does. But he tries to box, I think. I'm trying to remember. His last fight was against that kid he stopped. Who was supposed to be his toughest competition. He stopped his ass. So, I mean, Virgil Ortiz he's good. He's good. He's good. He was tested though against that kid. And Jaron Ennis. I agree. Loma's resume lacks substance. It's not a lack substance. It's got a lot of substance. A lot of good fighters in it. I'm just saying that. Um, I'm just saying that it's great. It's a great resume. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I'm saying he don't got guys like Keith Thurman or he's got one fighter, which is Guillermo Rigondeaux, who's kind of like on that level of these current welterweights that are at the top of the division. We got Terrence Crawford in there. We got Errol Spence, very skilled, very gifted fighters. Keith Thurman's another one. He's a more unorthodox, but he got a lot of power. Neither Terrence Crawford nor Lomachenko have those kinds of guys continuously. Lomachenko could be facing one of those guys in Javante Davis or whatever the other kid's name is, or Comey or Russell Jr. I mean, Lomachenko faced Russell Jr. already, but still rematching him or Shakur Stevenson. I mean, it's a really skilled, talented division right now. 130, 126, and 135. It's very talented. So Lomachenko really has a chance now to face real dudes. All the other guys were good. Jorge Linares was all right for his time, but now we're talking about the real live dogs. Ortiz has legit power. I mean, his power didn't work against the other guy until much later on. Nicholas Walters should face Rigo for one last hurrah. That'd be nice. But Rigo's down at bantamweight. Nicholas Walters is a featherweight, so that might be difficult to do. Super bantamweight, I think it is. Who wins, Canelo or Spence? You mean if Canelo faced Spence? Canelo? Canelo beats Spence at this point in time. Just what it is. Harvard 95 says Jared Ennis is overlooked. He's been my favorite prospect by far. Raul Ramirez says Victor Ortiz easily beat Mauricio Herrera when Danny Garcia went life and death with him. Victor Ortiz, not Victor Ortiz, Virgil Ortiz. Please don't say Victor Ortiz. Inui would beat Rigondeaux. I don't know, man. You asking some kind of crazy ass question. Rigondeaux bigger than Inui. Inui's just a bantamweight. You do realize that. And he still has to face and get past Donaire, which is not a guarantee. Ooh, you guys really talk. Man, that was great. Anywho, I'm just excited that Errol Spence is talking about a rematch, trying to set the record straight. I hope he gets through with setting the record straight. That would be good for him. Following the footsteps of really good champions and real fighters. Victor Ortiz or Virgil Ortiz? Victor Ortiz should face Walters at a 133-pound catch weight to prove who is the greater coward. That's funny, man. Gary Russell Jr. and Guillermo Rigondeaux are the two names that really stand out the most in Lomachenko's resume. Yeah. But you also got Salido, who beat him, but you got to count Salido because Salido was, how many times he was a world champion? 3 times or 4-time world champion at featherweight? Yeah, Salido. You got to count Salido in there. Nicholas Walters may land a jab, and Victor Ortiz will take a dive. Oh, man. You do know Nicholas Walters, I think, was fighting at lightweight for a minute, for a brief minute in time. On his knees looking at the ref like, like, like a child on Christmas Day. This is so funny, man. Oh man, intangible boxes is on the roll. Oh, Mike Alvarado TV really got a serious effect on this stream. Oh my god. It's funny, man. Oh, I haven't laughed this hard in a while. Yeah, but anyway, that's what I have for you guys. Man, you guys talk some real crap. Michael Hunter may be Joseph Parker's replacement for Chisora. Wait. Wasn't it Joseph Parker who called shut down that fight because he was supposedly ill? Uh, wasn't Michael Hunter supposed to face Povetkin? Yeah, Michael Hunter was supposed to face Povetkin. Joseph Parker pulled out. Yeah. So what are you talking about? Hunter going to be a replacement for Parker? Oh, Hunter's going to face Chisora? That's what you're saying? You see what you just said. Okay. So Michael Hunter might face Chisora. But to me, Chisora's a step down from Povetkin. What do you think? Joseph Parker pulled out of that fight because he probably was afraid of Chisora. That's sad. It was saying some flu or cold. Somehow I have a feeling Parker just didn't want no more of Chisora. Backed out of it. Michael Hunter facing Jador is not a bad idea, but I think he had the Povetkin appointment as well. It's whatever direction that the boxer and his team have selected. Good stuff, guys. Deontay Wilder should face Kovalev after going down to cruiser to become a three-divisional champ. Oh man, it's funny. But you know, Wilder's not really a big heavyweight, so maybe he could fight a cruiser. Maybe he could fight Usyk. Because Usyk was a cruiser. Maybe he could fight Usyk. Yeah, man. Thank you so very much for talking intangible boxing. I'm going to my bed too, and it is 11. Where I live, it's 11:15, so it is very late. Shout out to each and every one of you guys, man. I'm glad that they're going to have this rematch. Maybe they will. I'm more than likely they will. Wilder would knock out Usyk. Usyk's style is all wrong. That might be so, but they're around about the same size. Usyk should probably might be even heavier than Wilder now. Who knows? But anyway, people, it was nice talking with you guys. I saw your comments on many of my videos, which I appreciate. Don't forget you can subscribe, share, comment, and donate to my channel via Western Union or MoneyGram. I'll give you the details another time. Any heavyweight boxer with decent movement can get Deontay Wilder problems. Think so? I can't say. I mean, Wilder catches up to almost every one of them and puts them down. He has knocked down almost everybody he has faced. In fact, everybody's faced he's put down. Some have been knocked out, and some of them have been got up from not getting knocked out. Hey, but means the bird. He got back up in the first fight, but in the second one he was slept. And maybe Tyson Fury might get slept too. Who knows? After that stupid fight with what's his name, who went to the body, I can't rule out Wilder not getting him to the body and then knocking him out. I can't. Anyways, people, it was nice talking to you guys. Peace.